Greetings, everyone, and thank you for joining me on this episode. I'm Dr. Huntley, and I'm your host. I am a public health entrepreneur with over 20 years of experience in healthcare and public health, and I've helped a lot of public health entrepreneurs along the way. Now, this is episode 4 of the Public Health Entrepreneurs podcast. Although it's a new podcast, I'm not new to podcasting. So I've been a public health podcaster since 2017. I'm excited to dive into topic on this episode, as well as all the episodes of this podcast. We generally will cover topics around getting started, finding clients, leads, marketing, sales, anything that will help you build your confidence and grow the business of your dreams. Now, I would ask you to follow or subscribe to the podcast, whatever app you're listening in right now. You can click follow or subscribe. I just don't want you to miss out on anything, any new episodes that are coming up. You'll be among the first to be notified when we release a new episode. Now, this episode is going to be, again, answering a question. I receive a lot of questions. I've spent a lot of years coaching, supporting entrepreneurs who are getting started, building their businesses. So in that process over the years, I receive a lot of questions, especially around this whole under this umbrella of entrepreneurship. So the question that we're going to be answering today on this episode is, how do I find clients? That's one that whether you're getting started and you're looking for your first client, or you've been working for a while and you're looking for your next client, or you wanting to build a pipeline of potential clients, this is always top of mind. This is always an important question. And I think it's a great one for us to address on this episode. Now, I will say some of the same disclaimers that I've mentioned if you've been listening to the episode so far. And if you haven't, if this is the very first episode that you're tuning into, welcome. I'm really glad that you're here, but I also encourage you to go back and listen to the 1, 2, and 3, those previous episodes. They're not a prerequisite for this one, but I do think that they add a lot of value and go together with this one. So how do I find clients? I wish there was an easy, simple answer to give you, but there is not an easy answer. There's no one size fits all. I've said that multiple times, but the more you grasp that, the easier it will be for you to take the next steps to grow your business. And you have to decide what's the best fit for you, what you need to be doing. And sometimes it's difficult if you're trying to follow someone you see and model after them without understanding their business model, what they're doing, how they're doing, what's happening behind the scenes. We can it's great to be inspired by what other people are doing, but it's difficult to model after them without understanding some of the why behind these things. So to answer this question, I've created a list of tips. Are you surprised? Probably not if you've been listening so far. So I've narrowed down to what I consider to be our top 10 tips for helping you answering these questions. So my top 10 tips for finding clients. This is not an all-inclusive list, as I've said before. There are so many things that you can be doing to help you find clients, but these are my top tips that I'm going to go through them. I'm going to try to go through them quickly. And then I'm also going to let you know how you can find or get your hands on a copy of a guide that we created that summarizes everything that I'm going to be describing to you. So if you're a note taker, take notes if you feel inspired to do so. But a lot of you are listening and doing other things. You may be driving or taking a walk, multitasking in some way. So feel free to just listen and absorb, and then make sure that you're tuning in at the end. I'll show you or describe to you how you can get your own copy of the notes for yourself. Okay, let's jump right in. All right, tip number 1, identify your target audience. So again, if you're listening to this one, this is the very first episode you've tuned into, great. I'm happy that you're here. But in the episode right before this one, I shared tips for getting started. And in there, I talked about the importance of niching down. So depending on where you are, you may want to also listen to that, grab that guide as well. But let's just move on for the sake of those that have already established all these things and they're just trying to figure out, okay, I know what I need to do. I know how I would like my clients to be. I know the type of clients I want. How do I find more of them? Well, identifying your target audience is really key, because that's who you're going to be speaking to. That's who you're going to focus on in all of your efforts to attract your clients. So think about who your ideal audience is. Where are your clients, and how would you describe that audience? For example, if you target, say, nonprofit organizations. So your audience may be executive directors or leaders within nonprofit organization, right? If you are targeting government agencies, state government, for example, then maybe your target audience are directors or certain level of professionals within these state government organizations. So who is your target audience? Maybe you're identifying individuals. Maybe you're offering coaching and you're coaching students. Well, the students then would be your target, or your ideal your ideal client. Maybe hanging out in that target audience which would be students in that example. So identify your target audience. It's really important because it also helps you kind of stay on point and focused when you're trying to do some of the other strategies that we're going to be talking about. All right. So identify your target audience. A bit of a tongue twister there. Is my first tip. You'd be surprised how many people and how easy it is. This is not a judgment, but you'd be surprised how easy it is to veer off of this and get caught up in the I want to serve everyone, so I'm just going to have stuff for I can do anything for everyone. And I caution you against that approach, because then you serve no one. You need to have some sort of a niche, and you need to be able to know who you're targeting so that people can identify and know that you can help them, but also that people can refer business to you as well. All right. Probably be more on that in the coming weeks as well. Number 2, my second tip for you is to build a strong online presence. Now, I'm going to share with you what not to do because I just gave you an example. So if you are watching other people and you're trying to it's great to be inspired, but if you model after them without understanding the why, you can get yourself into a bit of a pickle. So if you're just getting started, and you may be inspired by another consultant or entrepreneur who has a presence on all the platforms, and you may think that building a strong online presence means I need to be on all of the platforms. Not necessarily. If you are a small business, like a solo entrepreneur, if you have a very maybe you're working a job and you're starting your business, or you have your business, you're moving along, but you are a small organization, you don't have the support of a team to help you build and be present on all these different platforms, then I would recommend picking one platform and double down, going all in, building deep roots on that platform. And that one platform would be, you can insert drum roll here, LinkedIn. So if you're familiar with me, if you've listened to me for any length of time, you know I'm a huge advocate of that platform. It's underutilized. It's a gold mine for all industry, but especially for public health, and really like double, especially for public health entrepreneurs. So if you were to really build a strong online presence, I would pick one platform, and ideally where your ideal clients are hanging out or spending time. And that likely is a platform like LinkedIn. You may decide that it's another platform for you, but whatever that is, I recommend picking that and really building a strong presence there, as opposed to trying to be on all of the platforms. So when I started, I didn't understand that right away. I saw that everyone that I followed and was inspired by was present on every platform. So that's immediately what I did. And it became overwhelming really fast to try to keep up everywhere. This is actually before we had so many tools that could automate your posts and things like that. Over the years, I've learned that, if I could start it over or do it again, I would do it differently. But now sometimes people may look at me and think, oh, well, she's on all the platforms. So for her business, so I'm going to also do the same thing, and forget that I have a strong team that does a lot of managing our presence. And we have a whole system. We have internal policies for how we create content, how it gets repurposed, how we share our presence, and managing that across the platforms. So if you're going when you're taking this tip, I want you to take it in with all of what I said in mind, because establishing a strong online presence does not mean that you need to be on 10 different platforms. It may mean that you're only going to be on one or maybe two platforms, and you pick the one or two top platforms where your ideal clients are, and you spend quality time on those platforms building that strong presence. I would say that includes regularly sharing content, engaging with your community that you're growing there, and really intentionally learning what that platform how it operates and what it likes for you to, what kind of content it likes for you to share, so that you're working with the platform and not working against it. And those things will help you develop that really strong presence. Establishing and your thought leadership this is a way to do that, and it's a way to attract clients to you. So think about, first and foremost, where your ideal clients are likely to be hanging out, where you can get their attention, and then focus in on, if you're just getting started, or if you're a small, don't have team and support, pick one platform is perfectly fine. Maybe two. I would not really encourage more than that. And then develop that strategy of how you're going to share that content and connect with your community members, which could lead then to your next client. Okay. Number 3, my third tip for you is network within the industry, within your, and this is, we're talking about public health. So not just public health, but think one step removed. We don't have to just be with exactly the public health community, but maybe it's a niche area of public health, or maybe it is an overlap. So I'm thinking, like, my example right now is, depending on what you're doing, if you're offering services, your interest is somewhere in this environmental space, well, then, we think about niching down into maybe One Health. And then you think about the overlap there. There's veterinary medicine, there's other environmental sciences just outside of public health. So you have a lot of room to move and to connect, but you want to network within your industry and think about where, again, your ideal clients are and what industries may overlap. And that would be a good use of your time and energy. And networking is, don't forget about your immediate network, your close friends and family, and people that may not exactly fit the industry, but they are very invested in you and your success, making sure that they are clear on what you do and who you serve, and how you can help, so that they are, can rally around you and help you attract those clients as well. So number 3 is network within your industry, public health, and then think about your neighboring connections. I'll even share a little personal note. Even since we started, I started to talk about the podcast, the Public Health Entrepreneurs Podcast. I talked to a few people in my industry that are podcasters, not specific to public health, but maybe they were entrepreneurs. So they were very interested in our topic. And I've already noticed that even before we launched the podcast, there were a lot of people interested in, there were entrepreneurs also interested in our take on it as public health. So we were starting to get a lot of interest before we launched the podcast. And it was just outside of public health, but within a broader group of entrepreneurs. So anyway, just to share with you that there's a lot of excitement that you can decide that it's exciting. It's exciting for me because that's an opportunity to talk about what I do and learn what other people do, which is exactly what networking is. But all of these activities can attract clients to you, making it a whole lot easier for you to share about your business, get to know people, and then your clients are just, it's almost like a pull that your attraction, that you're igniting, as opposed to chasing down someone for to sell to them, kind of thing. So networking is a strong one. Networking within and around your industry. All right, number 4. My 4th tip for you is, this may or may not work for you, but it's a really strong, it could be a very strong strategy, and that's offer free workshops or webinars. So this is just, it's not like you're doing your work for free, but I think if you offer some portion of what you do that you can make available for free, you can attract clients to you that will want to work with you a step further. You can help them get a win, or help them with getting a taste or sense of what you do. And then they may be more interested in you coming, build a little bit of trust and credibility. And then they may be more willing to then step closer to working with you a little bit deeper on whatever that is. So you decide where your boundaries are with this, and you decide if it's something that works for you or not. I've done a bit of both over the years, and we've tested this or that and decided what works and what doesn't work. I find that sometimes a free webinar, for example, can be a great way for people to get some questions answered, and then they can learn about the details of working with you. And some that are ready to work with you will be able to feel more confident about taking those next steps. So you'll have some people that'll be ready right away, but then They may attend and engage with you, but then you just get a closer connection that could ultimately lead to a client. So sometimes it's an immediate lead to a client, and sometimes it takes a while. This podcast is actually an example of that. I'm sharing information. I'm answering questions that a lot of people are asking about, and I'm providing it on a free platform because I don't even offer this type of training like this anymore. However, we do have a public health masterminds. We have a public health entrepreneurs mastermind group program that I would love for some of you listening to I would love for all of you listening to consider this program, but it's a very small community, and it's a very premium community. So we really are careful about making sure that people that are coming into the community are a good fit for what we have established. So my hope in sharing with you is that some of you will be listening and thinking, oh, that's exactly what I'm looking for. I would love to have a community of peers and to be able to grow and really work more closely with Dr. Huntley. That would be awesome. Maybe after you hear some of these episodes, or if you've been in my community for a while, you may have that feeling. And then that gives an opportunity for us to attract people that may want to join that program through this podcast. But we're willing to, this is not a workshop or a webinar, but in a sense, we're sharing in this podcast platform this information, helping a lot of people that may never work with us, and that's okay. But at the same time, a few of them may decide to work with us in our group program, and that would be wonderful. So I'm not suggesting that all of you run out and start a podcast, but I am giving you an example of how you could create a free workshop, webinar to share some genuine information with people that could help, and you can build community and enjoy that process. And then as a result, you could attract clients to you that may be willing to work with you. So you put it into the context of whatever it is that you offer. For us, it's a group program for that aligns with this mastermind program. For our consulting firm, this consulting side, it may be a workshop, which we don't do now, but we have done in the past, where we've had our ideal clients together. We've answered some questions for them, and then later on, it led to consulting work. So sometimes you start by doing those, and then you may not do them later on in your business as your business builds and grows. All right. So let me move to our next tip. See, I'll get long-winded on these. I love teaching and coaching and sharing around these topics. And so I'm trying to be mindful of the time so that I don't go over, but you guys have to listen faster. So my pastor at church says that all the time. Okay. Tip number 5, utilize content marketing. All right. So this could be blogs or articles, case studies. Maybe you create a white paper. Share this content and leverage your social media platform that you decided to use. You could have it on your website as where someone can opt in to read, download your white paper, or opt in to access this content that you've created. There are a number of ways that you can do that. Videos, you can host a learning series or informational series. I'm going to go back to LinkedIn and mention, because a lot of you listening are also subscribers of our newsletter on LinkedIn, which is Public Health Entrepreneurs. So we leverage LinkedIn's newsletter feature, which I think is amazing. It's a great feature, a great way to attract people that are interested in the same topic of public health entrepreneur. Either you're already a public health entrepreneur, or you're interested in learning more about it. And we create content for that newsletter. Way before, I've had that newsletter for a couple of years now, well before I decided to have this podcast, but I shared about examples of public health entrepreneurs through those articles to attract more people that were entrepreneurs or interested. So that's how you can utilize content marketing, create content for, and again, it's targeting of interest to your ideal audience or ideal client, or, your audience type, and share that with them any number of ways. But that's a great way to attract not just a community, but from that community, you'll get your ideal clients, through that community that discover you and what you do. And then you find the alignment. So it's a great way a great way. I have so many examples, but I'm trying to move along, so I don't want to stay here too long, but that's a great one. So utilizing content marketing. Number 6, provide testimonials and case studies. This is great. We all like to, when we're buying a product or considering a service, we like reading reviews, what people have to say about it. And those testimonials, if you're on LinkedIn, people can give you a review. I use that quite a bit um, in the earlier days to get people to, it just makes it easier because we're browsing through, we're checking out people anyway and their profile. And if it's optimized and you see where they've got some recent testimonials, then it can help you know, oh, maybe I'll give this person a try. Maybe I'll give this service a try. So if you have testimonials, um, anything from your client's perspectives that's favorable can be used to help you attract more clients to you. So it's almost like, you know, you're attracting more of what you are already showing and demonstrating that you're really good at. So if your previous client says you did great and there's some effort or some testimonial evidence that you did great from them, then that can go a long way in attracting new clients your way. All right. Number 7, attend community events and health fairs. I love this one because I think it's overlooked a bit. We have to remember that engagement piece. Community events are absolutely your local community, being in person, being very present about what it is you do, how you serve. I've done that with a lot of intention over the last couple of years because I wanted to work more, establish a client network locally. Most of my clients are everywhere else in the country and around the world. And I wanted to establish local consulting clients. So I set an intention for that over the last couple of years. And in events that I attended, health fairs are great because there's such a rich, sort of a diverse network of participants in a health fair. So you, as public health professionals and entrepreneurs, connect with healthcare nurses, physicians, nutritionists, dietitians, people that attend a health fair. Be present, be the public health representative, and connect with these people. Establish that relationship, and also you're letting them know how you serve and who you are, and that's a great way to attract clients your way. All right, number 8, which I almost skipped over. Wait a minute, look at my notes. All right, number 8, collaborate with health professionals. Again, like I was mentioning just a moment, attending health fairs and community events. Now collaborate with health professionals. Again, thinking about those nurses, doctors, nutritionists, community health workers, all sorts of health professionals that would attend a health fair. It's a great opportunity to engage, collaborate, and attract more clients. All right. Number 9, offer trial periods. Again, this may or may not be something that would work for you, but like I mentioned earlier, some of the things that we offered early on to attract some of our consulting clients into programs, and even some of the programs we had for our coaching clients early on, we offered trial periods or free periods, or a way for them to test out and see what it's like to work with us before going all in. We don't really do that much now beyond what I'm describing here on the podcast being a free resource. We do this on our other podcasts for consulting. It's a free resource, and it's a great way for people to connect and get to know us. And that's our free trial in a sense. But you think about whatever that looks like for you and what that could be like. Trial periods, program, like exploratory parts of your program could be a great way for you to attract clients, secure your first or next client. And then finally, number 10 is stay updated on industry trends. This is really important because things are changing all the time. You don't have to stress yourself out trying to be up to date on absolutely everything. That's so overwhelming. But think about your niche area and your clients, your community. Think about this, through your business. What is it that you're looking to solve? Or if you're just kind of exploring and trying to connect and collect a community, what is top of mind for your niche area or niche topic? And stay up to date on that and things related to that, so that you can it makes it easy for you to then demonstrate your thought leadership. If you're up to date, you're able to share your view, your perspective, and sometimes what those updates are to your broader community, making you a very valuable resource and adding a lot of credibility. I mean, establishing, some credibility with folks, and it can go a long way in helping you to attract your first or next client. All right. We made it through that list. love talking about this stuff if you can't figure it out from the tone of my voice. But these are really, like I said before, not all inclusive. These are my top 10 techniques or strategies, tips for you when you're trying to attract your first client or your next client if you're building and leveling up your business. It is an ongoing question that I always get, so I thought this would be a great way to share with you. Now, we also have a guide, as I mentioned earlier, that I'd love to share with you. And it is simply um, our top 10 tips for finding clients. And you can access it from our website, from the show notes for this episode. It will also be in the description. If you're one of the podcast apps, just look in the description. You'll even find the link for it. But if you're on our website, which is publichealthentrepreneurs.com, right there on the screen there. Click on podcast and then go to episode 4. This is episode 4. And in the show notes, you'll see the link for it as well. This guide is yours. It's a summary of what I just went through in this episode, and it will hopefully help you get started on taking those next steps or elevating up and thinking of maybe new strategies or new ways to attract clients beyond what you've been doing. And I will just add there to that note, whatever you're doing that's working, if it's working and it's helping you attract clients, don't stop doing that. Maybe take anything that we've talked about in these tips and think about how you can improve even and attract even more what's already working. So some of the things that I'm sharing, you may add to what you're doing to accelerate it and enhance it. It's not meant for you to stop what you're doing if it's working for you and switch to something else. But this is more of a enhancing what you're doing or adding something to if it's working. And if it's not working, then this may give you some new ideas to try that you haven't tried already. All right. I am excited to get some feedback from you all that decide to try some of these strategies. I love to know what you decide to try and how it's working for you. But that is really it, what I wanted to share with you today. So in closing, let's kind of wrap up a little bit so that I can let you go on with your day. I would love to ask one favor, one big ask that if you have been listening so far, you know it comes at the end. I would love for you to help us spread the word about this podcast. It's really super easy. It's an easy ask of us, but there are several ways that you can do this. You can simply share this episode from a link in the podcast app that you're using right now. You can just share this with your network. You can share our website, which is publichealthentrepreneurs.com. Simply share that website with your network, which would be, we would love that. And then also, which would be my favorite, this is the big one because our podcast is new, and to help us really start to get some momentum, if you were to rate or write us a 5-star review, a favorable review, that's if you're enjoying the podcast and if it's you're getting some value from these episodes so far. If you would write us a favorable review in Apple Podcasts or in the app that you're using, that would be most appreciated. It would definitely go a long way in helping us take off and really get moving with this new podcast. Let it help it to grow its legs. That would just be wonderful. But whichever option you choose, I really appreciate you helping us spread the word about this podcast. So no real pressure. I'm just sharing with you my excited way for you to do it. But truly, I appreciate any effort, anything that you do to help us spread the word. All right, everyone. Until next time, have a fantastic rest of your day.